Hello everyone, welcome to another IC cast on the IC Replays channel. I am Willow, and this time we're casting Tok versus Poland. With me today I have Bchamp, hello.
Hi, what's up?
I also have Tok, hello.
Hey everybody.
So before we get into it, I'm going to say one quick thing. It isn't going to be a quick thing because I don't do quick things. We just tried recording this whole video, and we finished this whole video and it was perfect. It was the best video you would have ever not seen. But unfortunately the recording was lost because my hotkeys disappeared on me. So unfortunately this video is just a tribute to how good that video was, I'm afraid. So you're just going to have to put up with our second attempt analysis. But without further ado, let's get into the game. So this is Tok versus Poglin, or otherwise known as Will. Will is obviously
Real
the...
Will.
Yeah, alright, real Will, non-believer. Will obviously being the Australian fella who commentated the last game with me, or maybe not the last game, but one of the last games we recorded for the channel. So feel free to send him lots of hate and abuse from myself. So let's get into the game. This game, Tok is northwest and Will is southeast. In the previous recording, Tok, we spoke about how you've changed your build order. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Yes, so I watched your cast of my game against Black Tiger 1, and you mentioned that 2 rods in the beginning usually mean that that player is going to do a level 2 rush. Right. But that's just how I usually build my, starting.
Yeah, your usual build order. Right.
Yeah,
so it's one you usually default
order
to regardless of whatever game you're in.
Yeah, so I just started changing it around, seeing if delaying the second rod. See, I'm starting to build it now. This is late for me. But yeah, I managed to build a few more henchmen in that time, and that.
I was going to say, did you find you had less downtime at your lab? Did you find your lab was producing more henchmen, or?
Yeah.
So that's super important early game. Is having
like 6-7 seconds where I was waiting to get to 100 coal.
Right.
To build the next henchman.
So I'm going to pause right here very quickly. So firstly, on the note of build orders, it is super important to keep your lab always occupied in the early game. You don't want to have it idle at all until you're going level 2. So if you take one thing from this commentary, take that. Now let's talk about what's going on in the game. Better than never. The first thing we saw was Will in the green. So got 2 henchmen, one over here towards the northeast, and one down here to the southwest. We're going to see these 2 henchmen do completely different things, and we will touch on them. We also saw Tok send these 2 henchmen down here.
Yeah, so I'm about to build a workshop, but since I'm already researching level 2, I'm thinking that there's no point in building it just yet, because I won't be able to build henchmen while I'm researching level 2. So I'm instead opting for a creature chamber. Plus, I'm kind of afraid of early game rushes, so that will help me defend against that.
Right. And I suppose by doing that also, as soon as you hit level 2, you're able to produce units, which we might see come out shortly. I don't know how close you're to level 2. Just about done.
Just about.
Right.
And yeah.
How far is Will away? What is also now level 2. So let's quickly touch on what Will's doing. So down here you see Will building a creature chamber. Will's obviously just hit level 2, and this is one henchman building creature. It's going to be quite slow to get there, but you will see him produce some units. We'll see whether that gets found out by Tok and his units here. The other thing we're going to see, which is quite important to touch on, I'm just going to pause the game again, is Will taking this expansion. So Will does this quite often, and we talked about this at length in the last version of this recording. He likes to take the opponent's close expansion. So by doing this, you're able to you're able to prevent the opponent from taking his close expansion, whilst also benefiting your own economy. So this is like a power statement he makes here. But by taking this expansion, he doesn't take this expansion first. I know he's got a henchman here, and he also doesn't take his own base expansion. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Guys, what do you make of Will's play there?
So for me, my opinion on this is most of the time you will either win the game shortly by having that expansion if you are very aggressive with your opponent, or eventually you're going to lose that expansion because it is so close to your opponent's base. inevitably they're going to attack it because it's a danger to them. And so having not only that one, but then soon afterward creating a safe expansion, probably at its most southernmost coal pile, I think would be essential. So that way, when that one does fall, then he still has resources to back up his creature production.
Right. So I just think that taking this middle expansion next would be a better move by Will, because he's getting more map control in more favourable positions. Okay, he's not as secure in his own base, but by having much more map control towards top, he should be in a better position to win the game ultimately. But we'll see how this plays out. Let's unpause. So over here we're going to see Tok making a load of these cheetah snails and cheetah frogs. Why cheetah frogs, Tok? You used to use spitting cobra eels, right?
I used to have a different level 2 range unit. It was the Cobra electric eel, and as you mentioned in that game, they are glass cannons. They do like a lot of damage compared to other level 2s,
right?
But they get like destroyed in 1 or 2 shots. So I just opted for something not beefy, but a little more resilient. And plus, these things are faster. My other level 2 unit is also a cheetah. And another thing that you commented in the other video was that my snakes were so much slower than the cheetahs that I constantly had to micro them around to make the 2 creatures work together.
Right, as opposed to having all your cheetahs arrive at once and then all your snakes arrive at once. Right, okay. I just want to hear your outlook on that, that was all. So we're going to see the first bit of combat going down. That's 1 poison frog zebra against obviously your 4 cheetah snails and 1 cheetah frog. And we're also going to keep cranking out units as he takes this first generator. Let's have a look what's going on at Will's expansions there. See if he's producing many hench. No, he has an idle henchman here. Another idle henchman here. This isn't what you like to see. Okay, he's made this henchman do now. And he's producing hench over here. You would like to see Will have done this straight away. You know, you want to see him really going for that economy and boosting himself. So he's in a better position to fight this off. Because really this could be a losing battle over this side. 1 creature chamber and he's just doesn't have the numbers
I'm starting to micro the range units and taking out, well, there's nothing left to take out. Maybe this one guy here.
Right, so Brandon, what do you think Will should be doing in this scenario to counterplay or to react to what Tok's?
I definitely think the creature chamber that he's building right now is a good idea. And if he has level 2 artillery, then now's the time to bring it out, and possibly trying to slow down the advance of the next creatures by either building sound beam towers or building
maybe a fence of some sort. Here, right?
Yeah.
Or perhaps up this way.
For me, I would definitely also consider expanding down south.
Right, yeah. Point. You need to be getting more economy going in this position, I feel anyway. So I think
meanwhile, up north, I think I've built my patented gyrocopter.
Out comes the gyrocopter.
Again, you mentioned in the other video that I don't really need. So I use the gyrocopter to build generators, on almost every map, just because I like that it has a long, what's it called, visibility range. What's the technical term?
Sight radius.
Sight radius, yeah. And better than normal henchmen. But I guess I waste a lot of resource building the gyrocopter, so I don't think that it makes much sense.
I don't know. The other thing about gyrocopters, they have a lot more health points than henchmen. But you are right. You know, 3 henchmen from this expansion, this generator, much quicker than the 1 gyrocopter. But that's maybe something you can take into a future game, perhaps, and sort of look at. Typically, you see a gyrocopter being used to build a generator on a geyser if a geyser was, say, on this plateau, which is not accessible. Anyway, I'm just going to pause it there because we'll talk about what's going on over at this East Island. And again, what Will could be doing differently versus this attack. So we see Will making a sound beam tower to deal a bit more damage towards Tok's range units. And you'll see Will with 3 poison frog zebras, which are typically some of the more powerful level 2 range units you see in the game. Maybe less so nowadays, but Still one of the better level 2 ranges in the game. You would rather see Will have maybe artillery in this position. It looks like Tok has quite a lot of range units, and artillery typically does very well against range because of that splash damage. The other thing I want to point out is Tok building a water chamber here. Now this could come into play because I think at this point you found this expansion point. Tok, is that right?
I'm not sure. I think I just randomly
placed a water chamber where...
Yeah, placed a water chamber, and then once I start producing units, then I see that there's a workshop there.
Okay, I'm just going to check up. Obviously, you're getting close to level 3 now. And where's Will? Will's not far off either. So you're both at a similar position in research. Obviously, I think you're in a better position with the economy. Actually, at the moment, I think you're not too dissimilar. And let's get back into the game. Yeah, so it looks like
so here I'm trying to destroy or kill the henchmen. Here.
Right. So, one of the things that I spoke to Kevin in depth about was target priority. So what I now like to do is, and really what's logical, is to always target the thing that's doing the most damage to you at any time. So if that's a Salmium Tower, attack the Salmium Tower first. If that's a creature, attack the creature first. But this is Will's first counterplay. So Will hit level 3 and is building these wolf rattlesnakes. Bchamp, what do you think of these?
So I think that they're pretty cool, but they're glassy. So against level 2s, I think they're gonna do just fine. But in terms of all level 3 units that you could have, they're kind of spammy. You definitely use them to spam poison more than anything. And I think they're kind of micro intensive because they do have the low health plus regeneration. So if you're paying for regeneration, then you might as well try to use it, but that requires you to retreat your units very, very early in the attack, repeatedly, to make sure you're getting the full benefit of that regen.
Right. The other thing I want to touch on is obviously Tok is now level 3 and has these Kangaroo Komodo dragons.
Yeah, you actually talked about them in the last video as well. I have now changed
the tail, you said, right?
Units. Yeah, now, okay, you can see it has Poison Bite and Poison Touch, and I, for some reason, thought that those abilities stacked. I don't know why I thought that. That's not how it works. And I've since removed the tail from the Komodo Dragon Kangaroos, and now they're much cheaper electricity-wise, and they do exactly the same damage.
Okay. And before we move on any further, there is a highlight in this game that I have to talk about. Can anyone guess what it might be?
Yeah, it's the killer whale.
Bingo!
Yay.
Oh, here we see it. Talk about this again, Tok. Tell me about the Spitting Cobra killer whale. Why'd you use it? Why'd you like it?
The creature with the best possible sonic attack at level 3.
Right.
And this is what I came up with. Because it has obviously 11 damage on its own, plus the Pack Hunter. And I think it's the only combination of the Killer Cobra with Sonic that's at level 3.
I think it might be. I'm not entirely sure. I might have to look into that. But I know for sure this is the most powerful level 3 Sonic unit. Anything with a killer head is going to be the most powerful Sonic at level 3.
Yeah.
Because the Dolphin just can't get to the right size, to the right. That's a similar damage. But
unless
I love
maybe
these.
you involve Frenzy into the mix, but actually no, that would be just a Piranha Dolphin, so that doesn't work either.
That would be Pack and Frenzy, yeah. You could
Pack
probably do something about it.
And Sonic.
I'd have to look into it. Anyway, how do you manage to afford these? So these are. I looked at these in the Army Builder the other day, and these are very expensive electricity-wise. Do you find that an issue, or?
Well, I like building generators. With the gyrocopter, so usually I can I can afford them.
Okay. I noticed you have.
The fact is that just I like Sonic, especially at level 3. They just destroy most swarms of units.
Very good against
and here I'll be sending
well.
them up top to kill some henchmen.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll see that play out in a second. On the topic of electricity, I know you have your research clinic. Do you typically get strength and electrical grid early on, or is that one of the later things you get?
No, I think it's the first thing that I get before even getting the site
right. Okay.
radius upgrade.
Yeah, that would help with your these Cobra whales then. That's for sure.
Yeah, sometimes even at level 2.
Oof.
Usually level 3.
Anyway, we're gonna let this unpause again before I derail the commentary too far. And we're going to see Tok attacking this expansion point, trying to wipe out Will. At this point, bear in mind Will's lost this expansion here and this expansion here. Will has to be taking this south expansion. Are we all in agreement with that?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. He's just not in a position to sustain an economy. And okay, he managed to save. Yeah, he managed to save this workshop, but he lost all his henchmen at it. And that's big. That ruined his economy. And now we're going to see more of these killer whales in the north. These are going to get through this fence and kill these henchmen shortly. And see these wolf riders are going to do some damage here.
Unlike Tok's doing a great job grabbing these geysers. You can see he has the bottom left corner geyser, and he's going for the top right corner geyser right now.
Yeah.
And Will's just not doing as much of that.
Well, Will went for this one, but was unfortunately spotted by a lot of cheetah cobras early in the game, I believe. And that's Tok hitting level 4. We'll see where Will is in regards to level 4 now. Well, it's just started. Right, that's interesting. I'm going to pause it right there. Guys, what did I say about Will hitting level 4 earlier?
What did you say about it?
Oh, I remember now.
I don't remember.
I remember now. So because you're killing all of Will's henchmen, Will has to be producing henchmen at his lab. He has to be producing henchmen to manage to sustain his coal economy. So by the time with all that time he's having to produce henchmen, he can't be researching, which means he's had to put off going level 4 to keep his workshops fully staffed, to keep his coal economy going. And because of that, he's a full level 4 behind you. He had only just started by the time you actually hit level 4. And now that could turn out to be massive in this game. Really, really big. But we'll see what happens. Will is now restaffing this expansion. And you have now fully taken the north expansion. And we're saying Will still has not moved for the southwest. Although he has made a play down here. I would imagine to try and take the generator from you.
Yeah, I would imagine as well. Yeah.
I guess you saw this pretty early on, but you already had your gyro here and this water chamber.
I think I'm pumping up. Ah, yeah, this is one of my mistakes here.
Right,
Should be continuing to pump out range units.
Yeah, if you were gonna go for these spitting spider polar bears, yes, more range or artillery. When you chose to produce draft lobsters, I mentioned this before. A very good idea here would have been to attack with these draft lobsters directly east into Will's base, because that would force him to stop looking over here, over here, and start ending his own lab. You could have taken out his generator, his henchmen, his lightning rods. You could have done some major damage there. As it happens, I actually think you win this battle here. I'm just going to skip over to the east expansion and see. Will has been producing these spitting spider polar bears quite heavily, which they're pretty good. They're okay. They have that poison which could come in big for the extra damage boost.
Yeah, but the problem is that I'm now at level 4. I can pump out level 4 units, and you see a few of them.
Yeah, the giraffe lobsters,
here,
and we also see
giraffe lobsters and
chameleon moose,
which is my chameleon moose.
Right. So this is another thing you do here that's quite big, is these first 3 chambers. This is huge. So by having more chambers, you are able to produce more units than Will can. Will only has 1 chamber here and 1 chamber here, but you have 4 in total now, which means you can pump out more units at a much greater rate than Will can. And especially with your economy advantage, it shouldn't be a problem for you. Now,
and so, what do you think Will needs to be doing now if he wants to try to win this game?
He needs to be disrupting Tok's economy and taking his attention away from attacking Will. So if Will was to do something smart, probably running these 2 elephant killer whales towards Tok's base, this would force Tok to retreat some units, which would just give Will some breathing room. After that, Will could potentially fence somewhere, buy himself a bit more time until he's in a better position with his economy, so he can do something. As you can see, he's desperately trying to repair this creature chamber to keep.
And meanwhile, you can see me building even more creature chambers.
Right.
And try to close out the game, I guess, and build more and more units.
This aggression that you're really putting on that's in contrast to what we saw against Black Tiger 1.
True, yeah. You know,
when on that pressure.
When I saw the that game with the full view of the map, you actually see all the missed opportunities, especially when they're pointed out to you. And it was kind of frustrating. And I tried to correct my mistakes this time and focus more on the battles instead of research and building henchmen.
Resources. Right.
Yeah,
well,
resources.
You did a really good job of keeping up pressure. So by building all these forward chambers, by building all these here to respond to Will's attack, that was really important because you could repel his attack super quickly. By building these ones here, you're able to reinforce your attacking force super quickly. And again, that's really important because you're not giving Will any breathing room, any chance to recover, any downtime in reinforcements. So meanwhile, Will's forced to produce some killer whale elephants over here and try and cause some damage and maybe encourage you to retreat and defend. But he's just not prioritizing the right targets. If I was Will in this position, I would have sent these elephant killer whales up right towards your lab.
To the base, right?
Right, yeah, because it forces you to withdraw at least a few units. Or if not, maybe take your henchmen away from Cole. They could do something useful, and I don't think attacking creature chambers is particularly useful in this position. Now this game is about to end, so I am going to
I've already taken down all the rods and all the henchmen here.
And you made a really powerful play as well by, I know I didn't touch on it this time, but you took this expansion. So Will is now effectively completely starved of his expansion points. He had this northeast, or northwest, or northeast, I guess, up towards yourself, where your own lab was. He had this east base, and now he doesn't have anything in his lab. He only has 4 or 5 henchmen at his immediate expo, and he has very little units going on. The few units he does have, he's tied up in the wrong areas. He needs to have these causing pressure to yourself, and he just doesn't manage to do that. Any thoughts, guys?
I mean, I think that this was definitely just really well played by Talk and having the aggression, and Will could have done more. But there were just a few key mistakes, I think, when it came to grabbing resources that he didn't take advantage of and he didn't use properly.
And perhaps not using fences. I think fences will be something we see a lot more use of in the tournament. There are a lot of times in this game where fences really could have slowed down Tok's advances, even maybe not stopped them, but slowed them down to the point where, again, I've mentioned this term a few times, breathing room. Will needs that time to recover, time to get reinforcements, time to research the higher levels or build more henchmen, and he just had no breathing room this whole game. Tok, you did a great job of maintaining pressure.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I really learned from that other cast that you did of my previous game, and you were talking about all the missed opportunities, how I wasn't microing my units or wasn't sending reinforcements. So this time I tried to keep up the pressure.
We did a very good job of that, my friend. Very good job of that. Right, I'm going to unpause the game and let this game roll out, and then we'll hop into the army builder for some follow-up analysis, and we'll see what happens here. I think Will flicks on lab defense shortly, but you see very quickly his or has that already happened? What do you think?
I'm not sure.
I think it happened already.
Happened, yeah.
So Will turned on lab defense and it expired immediately, as in he didn't have enough electricity to sustain lab defense throughout the attack of Tok, and regardless, there was very little Will could do to recover from that position, so it was basically redundant in any case. We'll hop into the arm builder anyway. So I've already piloted an army, which had some of the interesting units we saw in that game, and I'm just going to touch on a few topics. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is following on from your level 2 range choice, Tok, which was of course Spitting Cobra Eel against the Cheetah Poison Frog?
Cheetah Frogs.
Right. So I've got both creatures next to each other here. This is obviously the Spitting Cobra Eel. But when you compare the Cobra Eel to the Cheetah Frog, Look at all these greens.
Yeah.
All these greens. So obviously a lot more. Basically double the defense, which means a lot in IC. That speed is much higher. The sight radius doesn't really come into it very much. That makes a huge difference. They can keep up with your cheetah snails. You can micro them easier. They'll last longer. They won't die to artillery. They can actually move from artillery projectiles, which the code reels can't. And okay, we see a 5 damage deficit.
Yeah, but
I think these
so on the flip side, you also get a range boost, meaning the distance.
Yeah, 20 versus 18. It's only 2 meters.
Oh, actually, okay, it's not that big of a difference, but still.
But I mean, the cheetah is going to last more than twice as the cobra eels. So although you're paying not that much more, and yes, you're taking a big damage hit, they're going to last.
Well,
so
my
much
original
longer.
ideas with the eel was that it would go together with the leaping enemy, leaping creature of the cheetah snail, yeah.
Yeah.
So the leap attack would take care of whatever was attacking, but it didn't end up like that.
Right.
So just much more reliable to have better units with better stats.
I think it was a very situational sort of thing, and I think Cobra Eel maybe has some uses, but not in a really 1v1 environment, I can imagine. I think we'll just move on to the next unit. I know you wanted to talk about this one, Brandon, so I'm gonna let you take it away. This is the Wolf Rattlesnake.
So these were they're pretty cheap units. They're very spammy. That was what allowed Will to really defend very quickly. They are produced quickly. They have low coal costs, which means low power cost.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have that poison, which is, in my opinion, very good for defending. But
right.
Like you pointed out, Will, when we did our previous recording of this video,
yeah.
the ratio between the coal and the electricity is really, really bad. You can see that you're almost paying equal coal. If this units, like many level 3 units, were to cost around 230 coal, that means 180 electricity, which is just way too high.
It's almost unsustainable, right?
Yeah, coal cost is usually an indicator of how powerful the unit is and how long it's going to last,
mm-hmm.
and how much damage it does.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the same power, for the same power unit as like a 230, 240 coal unit, by building 2 of these, you're spending possibly twice as much electricity as that other unit.
Yeah.
And just like Will in this game, if you weren't grabbing generators as quickly as Talk was, you're not going to be able to sustain these.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You basically said everything I was going to say, and probably a little bit more. So I'm going to skip on to the next unit. We saw Will using these Spitting Spider Polar Bears. I really like these. I think this did really well that game. The poison damage is really big, because obviously it gives you a damage increase, particularly when you're going against units that aren't immune, which I don't think your level 3s were immune, were they, Talk?
I'm
No,
not
Komodo
sure.
Kangaroo and Spitting Cobra.
Is the Komodo Dragon immune?
No. So that poison would have been useful there, and we saw them do a lot of damage. And typically a level 3, I really like my range to be quite bulky, and I would definitely say that this matches a bulky characteristic of a unit.
And this directly beats the Will's counterpick, or Will's melee units. The Wolf Rattlesnakes. I mean, you have immunity here, so you're immune to the poison, and you're a ranged unit, and also you have poison yourself, which
I mean, you're right, but Will was using both of these. Tok was using.
Never mind.
Tok did have the kangaroo Komodos, which have poison though, and again, the polar bear spitting spiders are immune to that. So let's pretend
I
that's
really like this polar bear spider, but I think it will be even better in water maps. Water armies, because it has decent speed in both land and water.
I think there's a lot of other alternatives for land-based range units at level 3 as well, so it stands out more for amphibious and water armies. Anyway, let's move on to the level 4s. So I think this is where the game was really won and really decided. So you hit level 4 a full level before Will did. You know, he hadn't started level 4 until after you'd finished. So this is what Will was using, the Elephant Killer Whale, which I kind of like. How did you find it in that game, Tok? Did you find it overwhelming, or do you think it was very good?
Well, kind of, yeah, because he was sending them to attack buildings, and these creatures are better used for attacking creatures because of the horns.
Uh-huh.
Plus, he was sending 1 or 2 at a time, and they have pack hunters, so they're more effective in packs.
Right. Yeah, of course.
But I think they're good units. I mean, they do a lot of damage. They're bulky.
Again, that bulk is quite deceiving because of 26 defense isn't that good. So the 464 HP doesn't actually go that far.
Plus, I'm noticing that they're so fast in water, so it looks like this would be again another good water creature.
Yeah, no, you're right about that actually. Yeah. So I want to touch on, which we touched on the past cast, herding and pack hunter. So in previous versions of Tellurian, you used to have to pay for both pack hunter and herding, but there was a bug in IC which sadly we can't remove, where you only got the benefit from pack hunter. Thankfully, the boys in Tellurian, credit to Will actually, who just got beaten in this game, did some wonderful work with the game files, and now you're no longer charged for having herding if you're a pack hunter unit, which you used to be. So no worries about double bubble anymore. Anyway, Tok, your level 4s, because these things were amazing.
I've had a lot of success with them. Honestly, it's a good combo, I think.
Yeah, the double regen, they're both pretty bulky, with decent speed. These are very fast, and these are just okay, but I like them. Bchamp, what do you think?
I think these units are amazing, and you can really just see with Tok's skill and his success with them, both the games that we've seen, that you're able to take advantage, especially when you have so many creature chambers, keep a lot of pressure on. If you decide to micro with these units, then you can really take advantage of that regen by retreating and sending in fresh units while your old units regenerate and heal, which I really like too.
Just very micro intensive though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's to get the full benefit, but in this case, even without the micro, they still prove to be very formidable.
Yeah, right.
I like the Moose buddy because it doesn't have any other abilities and doesn't have like front leg attacks and stuff that you normally don't need on ranged units.
It's also very bulky, the Moose body. It's actually really good. I think it has like 400 HP and
with the regeneration is defense. Pretty good.
Yeah. So Tok, it's been great having you on. Hopefully you'll come back.
Well, thank you for having me.
We'd like to get you back on if we when you play Will in the next 2 matches. We'd love to have you back on. If we can get you and Will involved, that would be the dream, but we'll see.
Sure,
anyway.
I'd love to come back. I really enjoyed this. The first time was a little bit better, but I enjoyed it the second time just as well.
Good. So, Tok, before I let you go, I have to ask you the very important question for every IC cast that I am involved in. MVP, what was the best unit in this game? What unit won this game for you?
Obviously it was the gyrocopter, right?
I mean, it has to be, doesn't it?
Yes.
How else would you have built those generators? Anyway, guys, on that note, on that bombshell, I think we're going to end the cast there. It's been good fun. Even bear in mind we've had to record it twice. Does anyone have any other closing notes before I wrap this up?
No, let's get out of here.
Right, excellent. Okay, well, thanks for watching. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to send Will lots of abuse. I will link his Discord in the description of this video, and we'll talk to you guys later in the next cast. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
See ya.